What is an independent contractor? Independent contractors are not employees under Oklahoma workers' compensation law. Many employers are under the mistaken impression that a single action or practice can grant them exemption from workers' compensation law. However, a multitude of factors can be possibly considered when determining whether a worker is an independent contractor or an employee for purposes of workers' compensation. I will list 11 factors that are used to legally determine whether an employer-employee relationship exists for purposes of workers' compensation. The evidence is weighed under the totality of the circumstances, so no single factor by itself is necessarily decisive. Number 1, the nature of the contract shows that the worker is independent from the contractor. For example, the contract may contain an agreement that the contracting party is an independent contractor. Number 2, the degree of control exercised by the principal or employer over the work. The greater the degree of control exercised by the principal, the greater the likelihood is that the worker is an employee rather than an independent contractor. Number 3, whether the worker is engaged in a distinct occupation or business for others. For example, the worker is a painter who paints houses for several different employers. Number 4, the kind of occupation with reference to whether, in the locality, the work is usually done under the direction of the employer or by a specialist without supervision. Number 5, whether the occupation requires special skills, license, education, or training, which tends to indicate that the worker is a contractor. Number 6, the worker supplies all or most of the materials that he or she needs to perform the job. If this is the case, it tends to indicate that the worker is an independent contractor. Number 7, the length of the job, which is to say whether the job is a one-time job or a job that will be performed on a regular basis. Number 8, the worker is paid as a separate contractor, which is to say an invoice is provided to the worker for his or her services. The worker is paid by the job. The worker files a federal income tax return for his or her business. The worker is provided with an IRS Form 1099 from the principal. Factor number 9, whether or not the work is a part of the regular business of the employer. Factor number 10, whether or not the parties believe they are creating the relationship of master and servant. And factor number 11, the right of either party to terminate the relationship without liability. An important side note, independent contractors should be aware that a primary contractor may be held liable for the work-related injuries of the employees of any subcontractors if the subcontractor has not secured workers' compensation coverage for its employees. Any questions? Give us a call. Maybe we can help.